Welcome back to Jolly Julie's Crafts. I am Jillian of Jolly Julie's Crafts. I upload videos every Tuesday. So today I'm coming at you with a craft, and it's kind of a cool craft. Before I start, let me talk about, I hope everyone is social distancing. I hope everyone is staying safe. I hope over the long Easter weekend that we just had that everyone was able to connect with their families either online or by telephone. I know it's increasingly harder these days as the weather gets nicer and we want to go outside, but we have to remember social distancing is the key. We want to stop this or slow down the spread of the pandemic so we can all go back to our lives eventually. So here's the video today, just a little bit of entertainment for you while you're at home like me. So what we're gonna do today is a craft. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a picture like so, and we're gonna put the image onto a canvas. This is it's not difficult, you just have to be gentle with it. So I got from the Dollar Tree, I got this artist canvas. This is 5x7. Okay. Everything is pretty much from Dollar Tree. Well, this is from Dollar Tree. And then there's this, it's called a matte gel medium. Okay, you can get this from Michaels, and Michaels is still open actually. I checked the other day online, or you can order it online, either way. So we're gonna use that. We need scissors, we need a paintbrush, and we're good to go. So what you do is you want to take your canvas and check what size it is. You can do this any size. I had these canvases at home, and they're 5x7 canvases. So what you do is you just need to go ahead and decrease the size of your photo to about 6.5 by 4.5. Now this is 6 by 4.5 because that's how we were able to print it out, and I was happy with that because it's just going to be a little bit smaller than the canvas. Okay. So basically what happens is when you put on the gel medium, the image adheres to the gel. Okay, and then what you do is you wait for it to dry. It takes a couple of hours. Usually I wait overnight. But fortunately I have done one of these canvases already for us. It's not the same picture, but it's another picture. And so you'll kind of see how you go through the process. So I'm just cutting down the photo now. And then we're gonna put the gel medium on the canvas. There you go. So as you can see, okay. One thing that I want to tell you about doing this, so this is going to be cute. It's a little bit too small, but it'll just have like a little border around it, and that's fine. Okay, one thing that you want to know when you're doing this is if you're looking at a picture like this and you want that exact image to show on the canvas, you need to reverse the image. So you need to, because you're going to be gluing it face down, the opposite image from what you want is going to show up on the canvas. Okay, so what you need to do is just know that once you inverse the image and print it out and glue it, well, paint it on there, the image that you want will come up because it's already been reversed. So if you can do a mirror image of what you're doing, or vertically, flip the image, whichever button you use, and you'll see the right image, then that's the image that's going to come up for you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and paint the canvas. As you saw, there's going to be a little bit of a border around the edges, so keep that in mind. On the other one that I did, the picture is a little bit bigger, but no big deal. Now when you're painting this, don't be stingy, because you want the image to adhere to the paint, because what happens is the image gets stuck in the glue and you're going to be rubbing off with water the paper background. Okay, so like I said, don't be stingy. Do a nice good coat. So you're just going to paint it. I think there's about that much. Okay, and you just kind of, and then when you rub off the image, it leaves a nice cool kind of retro looking picture. Now you need to have a laser printer when you're doing this, because for some reason it's the laser printer image that sticks best to this gel medium. Okay, so with that being said, continue putting a generous amount of paint on here. I think I'm just gonna do a little bit more at the top. Okay, a little bit more at the top here. And I suggest that you have the paint all running one way, because when you eventually put the water on the back of the image and rub out the paper. If the paint is going the separate ways, it's not going to come off as easily. Okay, so there we go. So that's kind of like, there we go, hold on. It doesn't take a lot, and I've had this bottle for a very long time, okay? So let me just close it up. All right, so this is what the canvas looks like, just kind of painted. You just paint it on essentially. And now you take your image, and in this case, I'm just gonna kind of see where I want it. So again, if you want this to be like properly sized, it has to be about, the image has to be about 6.5 inches by 4.5 inches, because this is a 7 by 5 inch canvas. Okay, now what I like to do to make sure there are no bubbles is I just take a ruler and kind of smooth it out, because we want to make sure that it sticks to the canvas. Here it's having a little bit of problem here because you want the image to show up. Okay, a little bit more paint, there we go, and just kind of make it flat. And then usually what I do is I just keep it overnight and I let it dry thoroughly. Now that guy doesn't want to stick down. I'm having trouble with the corner of the image here sticking, and I want it to stick because I want the image to get, okay, perfect. All right, so make sure that the bubbles aren't there, no air bubbles, because that means part of the faces and stuff will be rubbed off, and you don't want that. And when you're rubbing, oh, I think that's good. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave that overnight, but as in cooking show style, when you watch cooking shows on TV, fortunately, I have another canvas already made. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and take a little bit of water and paint it on the back of it, okay? Now this is the paper. So earlier, last week, what I did is I did one of the canvases, and I thought I was gonna be able to remove it before I did the video, but then I thought I will just wait. So you put some water on the back of it, just paint it enough to get the paper wet, right? Because you're gonna be rubbing it off with your fingers. And what comes off usually is just the paper. And you have to be very delicate and gentle with it, and it does take a while, okay? There we go. Okay, so you want to be able to see the image that comes through, because then you can kind of wipe it off. Okay, so you'll know that it's sticking properly if you can kind of see the faces in the images that you have put onto the background, okay? And you have to make sure it's pretty wet, because you want to make sure that you don't wipe off the little faces and stuff, right? So once I'm done getting this wet, I'll show you a better image of what it should look like. You don't have to paint it if you don't want to. I'm just painting it because I'm extra. Okay. And what you'll notice when you're rubbing all of the paper off is some of the image will wipe away. Now, as long as the faces are visible, in my opinion, it's good. But a lot of the kind of outside area of the image will wipe off, and it will just kind of add to it. So I want to make sure that it's wet enough around the faces. And also painting it like this gives you a little bit more control of where your water is going. Okay, let's see. There we go. Now, I've done these for gifts for people, and it's kind of a thoughtful gift. I did one for my mom for Mother's Day one time. I give them to my son's godson. Because what do you give someone who has everything? You know what I mean? Sorry, my son's godfather, not son. Okay, so this is kind of what the image looks like wet. And that way you'll know you can rub it off, because you can see the image clearly through, okay? Now, what you do is you just take a finger and start rubbing, okay? Don't use your nails, because you want to be gentle. So as you can see, the wet paper is coming right off, and the image is staying. Let's see. Okay, but if you're not gentle, you're gonna wipe off some of the faces. So see here how some of the color came off the background? That's because I was being a little rough. So it's fine to be rough around the edges, but when you're coming to the faces, you want to be gentle because you don't want to rub your people's faces off. Okay. There we go, kinda. And it does take quite a while to do this, so I'm just gonna kinda. But like I say, you can be a little bit rough around when you're not doing the faces. But when you see a face, you just kind of do a little gentle circle around the face because you don't want their faces to come off. Oops. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm just kind of go around the edges here. And you see that the paper comes off very, very easily. So here we go. Now I've never done a canvas this small before, but it should be okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna pause the video. So for now you can see a little bit of what's coming. Actually, no, I won't pause the video. I think sometimes too, you just have to add a little bit of extra water onto the paper because it does tend to dry a little bit. So if you want to preserve the image and make sure you don't rub off faces altogether, you gotta kind of preserve the image here like that, okay? So just add a little bit more water, just because it's getting a little bit dry, okay? And you don't want to rub off the entire image, right? You want it to be a nice picture at the end of the day. So just keep rubbing, 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 rubbing. But be very gentle. Just want to be gentle around the little faces. Off a little bit of the face. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video here and then I'll come back to you when it's all finished rubbing off. Well, I have done these before, but never on such a small canvas. And so this is the first one. It was a big fail. Next time I'm going to use a proper size canvas because as you can see on this canvas here, so this one I did paint strokes up and down. So that is bad. Do not do that. This one I did paint strokes side to side, which is better, but it seems like the middle of the image is what stays best. So this project would have been better off on a large canvas, like an 8x10. I originally printed off an 8x10, but decided to use the smaller canvases. I do have an 8x10 canvas as well, so I could have just printed it off and it would have been fine. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to be doing this, it's a really cool look. Like, you see the image and like just a little bit of distressing around the edges, but unfortunately my face was the edges. So my face is okay. But Daniel's face, look how cute that little baby is. He was just a few days old. I love it. It's so cute. So if you're going to be doing these canvases, again, paint opposite the way that your picture is. So if your picture is this way, you paint up and down. If your picture is up and down, you paint sideways because the image is holding better that way. Also, if you're going to be doing this for a gift for somebody, use a large canvas, because the large canvases I've used, which are like 8x10s, they come out much better. So as you can see, my face is kind of like mashed. So where am I? Woo. But Daniel, he's closer to the middle, so his face is fine. So these do look nice if you do them larger, but because I really do like how the outside is kind of faded, it gives it kind of like an old-timey texture look. And I've never tried it with colors, but black and white seems to hold the ink best from all the tutorials I've seen. So moral of the story, I don't know, they're the moral of the story is that always paint opposite to the way that your picture is, and use a larger canvas because it's really the center of the canvas that holds the picture the best. Here on the sides, where it's wooden and it goes over to here, your image is going to get messed up. I think it has something to do with the fact that there's wood back here, and maybe that interferes with the breathability of the fabric, and so it doesn't look that good. But any canvas that I've done on a larger scale has looked pretty good, and there's only kind of like the edges that are screwed up or made to look interesting. Okay, so that is our craft for today. It's a bit of like a fail, but kind of a learning experience as well. So I would like to thank you for spending the time with me today. I know you might have other things to do and stuff that you want to get done, or just wanted to, you know, Netflix and chill and watch The Tiger King, which is amazing. By the way, they just put up a new episode. It's like the after show of The Tiger King. It's pretty funny. So thank you for spending time with me today. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I will be coming at you next week with something else. If my stuff comes in, it might be a try-on haul. Fingers crossed. I ordered it a couple weeks ago and it hasn't come. I guess the postal services are overrun now and all that kind of stuff. So thank you again for spending the time with me, and I will see you next Tuesday.